Stony Creek.
That was my fault.
I don't know if I ever told you, I went out there, it's been about 5 years.
Mike, what do they run with this diesel? What's that used for?
That's just to switch cars. What they got a couple of new ones in here, and the reason for it is because there's a connection here, up here to the Petsy side. That fetching corridor tracks with it stuff. And
Still fun to be rebuilt?
all the way until we dug it.
What's that?
All the way until we dug into the top of our line. Yeah, you dug into the tunnel, you could look straight ahead and see the old right behind them. Hasn't been used since the tunnel over there. Here's where that station is. Right there. Right here. Where the station is. No, it's not even here. It's going to be the new station. Why are these not new ones? They just wrote the other one. Don't ask me years. They got a graphic show that they clean up the here and the university. Trying to figure out where which was I got pictures.
What's that?
When Ready Charlie was over, I got pictures from City Hall Tower. That's pretty rare. That's probably gone by October.
That was temporary after they tore down the station there because the thing was collapsing.
I didn't think you had split screen capability.
I got pictures of that station being torn. About to see somebody over there interrupted me. We were talking about Horseshoe Curve, and I went out there. That was shortly after they took the steam engine out, shortly after they took the one track out there. And the time plates and spikes from the track that was still there. So I got there late on Saturday. I had to wait about an hour to the train came. Went by there, in fact, that Sunday morning, and shortly after I got there, it's over a couple of them. They were coming in the Belgian area, going through the south. First of all, a train started coming around down the hill, and one came around up the hill. They got right from the corner, and we got that picture. They told us that all the years have been up there, they've never seen them. But then they started talking to each other about, he was saying how he is. Dad was a case of and there used to be a water tower there. It was just the old one. Yeah, that's the old one there. So, you got wondering if the water tower or any reference was still there. So, they're still just there. So they walked by the old track. It's very dangerous. Slide to death. Fall down right there. Diamond Street. I know people are and so I went out there. I got this real nice picture of the tracks. Well, I said I got two spots. So I went around the fence. They came up the tracks. No sooner got back in the corner. I heard this really weird.
Are named as you go north along the railroad there. Baltimore is where Charles and Paul Street. The yellow dog leg is just about almost in the middle of the screen. That's just on the other side of the Susquehanna River Bridge. Continues all the way up to the right to Phil Interlocking, which is all the way up on the right-hand side of the screen. That's just 4 miles south of here. That's 135 miles of railroad shown up there. Up to 6 tracks wide in some places. The lighter colored tracks, the gray colored tracks, sometimes they look a little violent from this distance, are the main line electrified tracks. The yellow tracks off to each side are the non-electrified interfaces to freight railroads. Questions afterwards. My voice is starting to go here. All right, now, the green you see is a route selected by the dispatcher who sits in the front row. There are 4 dispatchers controlling this territory. That's the route selected. You saw in the video how they touch the screen to select the route. Okay, now each one of the consoles has 3 monitors. He can bring up to 3 monitors worth of interlockings. He can get 5 or 6 interlockings on the 3 monitors. He can entrance-exit route through up to 5 interlockings just by touching the screen, the entrance point, the exit point. And once the green route is up there, that's locked in the signal system in the field. There's an 8-minute rundown on that signal, which means if he tries to cancel the signal, he has to wait to 8 minutes to get there until he can.
We, the railroad car from SEPTA,
No matter what you do.
Yeah, you're not gonna get it off.
I can't cut it. Yeah.
Commuters have to deal with the new Railworks schedule tonight. The $354 million program will replace 20 bridges, 8 miles of track and railroad ties, and 14 miles of overhead electrical lines. The Norristown, Chestnut Hill East, and Fox Chase lines are completely shut down now for the next 6 months. Commuters on the Warminster, West Trenton, and Doylestown lines will transfer to the Broad Street subway without charge at the Fern Rock station.
The thousands of people who depend on the SEPTA rail lines to get them to work, those words, brace yourselves, because 10 months of desperately needed work has begun, and rush hour tomorrow morning should be interesting. What will we get after SEPTA spends $354 million on Project Railworks? Well, here's part of the answer. Listen. That characteristic clackety-clack won't come back after all the work's done. High-tech, seamless rails will replace many of the old bolted ones.
You should see a noticeable improvement in the ride.
And much more important than that, an improvement in safety and on-time performance. So that is the good news. The bad news, of course, is the major short-term disruption of SEPTA service. But SEPTA is making a unique guarantee. Either they get you to work within 15 minutes of on time, or the next ride's on them.
If you're a Warminster rider, Doylestown rider, or a West Trenton rider, or you ride the Broad Street line, we'll get you to your final SEPTA destination within 15 minutes of what our timetables and schedule says, or basically the next ride is on SEPTA.
Still, the offer applies only to some of the affected routes. In all, 3 routes will close altogether, the 3 that you see there on the screen. Then these 3 lines will run only to the Fern Rock station, where riders get a free transfer to the Broad Street station.
Free transfer to the Broad Street subway up these stairs?
It was dress rehearsal today for SEPTA and for the riders who face the changes for real tomorrow.
Because I don't want to be lost tomorrow. I don't want to be late for work because I want to see what it was like.
Phase 1 runs through October the 3rd, but for the 18,000 affected riders, the real light at the end of the tunnel doesn't come till the project's finished in September of 1993. Now, in the meantime, SEPTA says it expects to lose about $10 million in revenue while all that work is going on, but they count on making it all up within 90 days after the project is finished. And now, on a different SEPTA note, drivers for SEPTA's Red Arrow
R3 and R5 trains had to get off at the new Fern Rock station this morning. Then they boarded Broad Street subways and buses bound for Center City. Many of the cars were packed, and detours will be in effect for 6 months while construction workers rebuild crumbling bridges and tracks in North Philadelphia. SEPTA says overall no major problems today.